Takuara rā ko Māhinaarangi, the pathways of our ancestors, Māhinaarangi. The birth of Raukawa is a very significant story to the iwi. This kōrero is a summary of the events leading up to and following Raukawa's birth. Like most oral histories, there are variations to kōrero. This is but one kōrero as described by Raukawa historian and Kaumātua Nigel Te Hiko following his research during the treaty settlement process. The story of Raukawa has been immortalised in the history of the iwi. It was a story built upon true love and the principles sacrifice, obligation, tenacity and duty. It was a true love story that rivaled any great saga ever recorded. The great lovers, Tūrongo, a direct descendant of Tainui rangatira, Hoturoa and the explorers Rakatāura and Kahukeke, and Māhinaarangi, the beautiful maiden of the east coast, and descendant of Tamatea Rikinui, the captain of the Takitumu Waka. After suffering a devastating betrayal by his brother, Tūrongo left his homelands in Kyea and travelled overland to the east coast. He had learned of a famed maiden whose beauty was without rival and he sought to pursue her favour. Arriving at Kahotea, the home settlement of Māhinaarangi, he set about certain tasks that highlighted his exceptional skills. It was not long before his famed skills won over the people of Kahotea. Tuaka and Te Angiangi, Māhinaarangi's parents, suggested that she might consider Tūrongo as an excellent suitor. However, little did they know, Māhinaarangi had already laid plans to court this young chief. She knew where Tūrongo returned to his resting place at night, and that his path led him past a spring. One night, under the cover of darkness, as Tūrongo made his way to his sleeping place, he passed a spring when he noticed the scent of the Raukawa oil, wafting on the clear night breeze, and heard the delightful giggle of a young woman. This drew him to her, and he was met by an unknown woman. Her identity remained hidden by the night. They passionately embraced and made love. After their lovemaking, the unknown maiden melted away into the darkness, and Tūrongo was left intrigued by the encounter, but was determined to discover the identity of the woman. The only clue to her identity was the scent of the Raukawa oil worn by her. With the memory of his previous night's encounter rushing through his mind, Tūrongo carried on his usual business, but never forgetting the aromatic scent that drew him to the beautiful maiden. As he was making his way back to his resting place, he came across a group of young women playing a game. When he smelt the familiar scent of the Raukawa oil, it was a scent that had burned its way into his soul. It was a scent that he would never forget. The special fragrance of the oil revealed that the beautiful Māhinaarangi was the woman that Tūrongo had met the night before. With their identities revealed, they both expressed their love for each other. This news was greeted with approval by her parents and her people, and shortly thereafter, they were joined in union. Tūrongo and Māhinaarangi continued to enjoy living at Kahotea, until it was announced that Māhinaarangi was hapu. Although Tūrongo had enjoyed living with his wife's people, he yearned one day to return to his homelands. Hearing that his wife was with child, he was determined that he should return to his lands with his new family. After discussing with Māhinaarangi, it was agreed that they would return to Tūrongo's lands. Tūrongo returned to his homelands, promising to build a new home for his family. Before leaving, Tūrongo left his kuri, Waitete, as a guide to help his wife find him, as she opted to wait until the pregnancy was more pronounced. When the time came for her to leave Kahotea, Māhinaarangi was late in her pregnancy. She did this because she wanted her people to see the unborn child nesting within her womb and she wanted them to connect to the child. Māhinaarangi and her entourage left Kahotea, taking a circuitous route along the east coast. Every village she passed, she was celebrated. Along the way, her people could see her pregnancy and would connect with the unborn child. The people realized that even though the child would be raised in the west coast, the child was also bound to the people of the east coast. From Kahotea, Māhinaarangi journeyed north to her people at Wairua. From Wairua, she set off eastward to her whānau at Waikaremoana, then on to Rotorua. Her journey then took her to Kuranui, the Kaimai Mamaku track that would take her towards her takitimu whanaunga in Tauranga Moana. When Māhinaarangi reached Kumikumi, feeling her labour pains begin, she turned westward again to ensure her child would be born within the domain of his father. Some people say that at the top of the Kaimai Ranges, in a place known as Whenuakura, she gave birth to the new Ariki. The child was named Raukawa, in recognition of the perfume that his mother wore during the courtship of his parents. From Whenuakura, Māhinaarangi came down the track, known as Te Arapohatu, into the Patetere region. The naming of numerous places within this area reflect the birth of Raukawa. Rapurapu stream takes its name as reference to the cleaning of the afterbirth from the newborn child. Māhinaarangi fed her new baby at the base of the Kaimai Ranges, an event commemorated in the naming of the original Ukaipo marae. Te poipoitanga a Raukawa, or te poi, as it is more commonly referred to in its current times, celebrates the nurturing of the newborn child. Within this area, Māhinaarangi took time to recover from giving birth. She utilised the hot springs found throughout the area, particularly bathing in the warm waters of Waitakahanga a Māhinaarangi, commonly referred to today as Māhinaarangi's bath. These hot pools helped to rejuvenate her strength before moving on towards Maunga Tautari that she saw in the distance. Arriving at the narrowest part of the Waikato River, just at the foot of Maunga Tautari, at a place called Anewanewa, Māhinaarangi crossed the Waikato River. Once across, she undressed the swaddling cloth from the baby and laid it out to dry. This became known as Te Horahoratanga o ngā Māro o Raukawa, more commonly known today as Horahora. Having returned to familiar territory, the Kuri Waitete left the group at Parahaimotu to find his master Tūrongo. Upon seeing the dog arrive in his new pa, Tūrongo knew that his wife was coming. He immediately set off to find them. At Pirongia, Tūrongo had found his wife and newborn son waiting for him. Excited, they continued their journey to the newly built pa of Rangiātea. Upon arriving, they were greeted by the great chief Tāwhau, the father of Tūrongo, to their new home on the banks of the Manga Orongo River. It was here that Tāwhau performed the tohi ceremony on his grandson, confirming the name Raukawa on the child. The story provides some insight into the Raukawa iwi and our takiwā. It is also significant that embedded within our stories, memories and geographies are roadmaps for the expression and practice of values and tikanga for both the present and the future.